It's the truth, and
All right, we'll find out, won't we?
All right,
We'll
so
find out.
we are live. Sound is working. You guys want to give an introduction, Jackson first, because we all know Jen. Jen has been here for a while, so give an introduction, and you guys can jump right in the topic, and I will hang out in the audience.
Okay. Hello. My name is Jackson Wheat. I run a YouTube channel where I talk about evolutionary biology, zoology. I have a bachelor's in biology, but that doesn't really matter. This is just, it was my hobby, and I'm in school to do it, and so working on my master's now, so yay. So there you go, there you have it. That's pretty much it.
cool. I'm Jen.
I'm sorry?
I said cool, and I said I'm Jen, and nice to meet you. And as I was saying before we went live, there's really no point in trying to educate me, as I already know what you were going to say and disagree with the premise you were saying.
Okay. All right. So,
That's
I guess
all
I
right.
want to ask. Sure. Yeah, that's fine. I'm trying to find where it was last night. That's okay. It'll be fine. All right. So, I wanted to ask, first and foremost, because you said you support intelligent design, sort of. So to what extent do you think common ancestry is true?
Meaning
Meaning, to what
that we
extent do
can
you think
define
organisms share common ancestry?
a high extent.
Okay, so are you more of like the Behe-esque, where he's like, yeah, common ancestry among all organisms is fine? Or are you more sort of a Meyer-esque, where like, yeah, but only up to about the phylum level? And then there's like Wells, way on the far extreme, where he's like, I'm not even sure speciation happens naturally. Where do you fall on sort of the spectrum of intelligent design?
I would say that I have no idea what any of those positions are, and
I thought you said I had nothing to teach you.
prove that the universe is conscious, which requires ordering, which you can say is intelligence. So there's no way to disprove that the universe is intelligence, and since life
I'm not
comes from
trying
the
to
universe, then you
disprove
can
that.
say intelligent design. So it's sort of a bit of a misnomer to be like intelligent design. It's like, well, are we saying that, like TJump, that intelligence requires a mind, which it necessitates a brain? So you're sort of like, you're painting yourself into a corner with metaphysics like that.
I'm not even
So
saying that so much. That's not even really the position I'm arguing. I'm just saying I'm just trying to figure out
my
whether or
position is
not.
that
Go ahead.
biology is not science as it's practiced
Okay.
currently.
So question for that then, if I go outside and I want to know the optimum amount of water for my grass, what
Not
science am I doing?
another cheesy metaphor, please.
It's not a
Do you
metaphor. I'm just straight up.
understand the criticism against biology that it's not
Oh,
scientific, namely evolution by mutation, or mutations are selected, or whatever weird way you're phrasing it, that it's essentially
Okay,
the same thing.
so that's not quite what you said last night, but I'm okay with that. So you're not saying biology itself is not science. You're saying evolution is not science.
Well, what
I just
is
want to.
biology if
I want
not
to.
evolution? Because I took a couple of courses in biology, not going to lie, it seemed to all be evolution and applied evolution.
I mean,
Which was kind of cringe, because it was all like tree drawings. It's like,
I mean, fair enough, but
cringe.
like I said, if I want to find out the optimum water for my grass, am I doing biology? Is that biology or not?
Can you don't need to, please spare me the cheesy metaphors. I've
I'm
heard
just asking a
honestly
simple
too many
question.
for one lifetime of cheesy metaphors. It's like, just because you can make a metaphor doesn't mean that you're smart. You have to actually know something, and then you can abstract a metaphor upon it. You don't just
I'm not. There's
memorize
no
cheesy metaphors and then drop them on people and be like,
I
"Haha,
literally just
water's
came up with
wet.
that,
Did you know
like,
that?"
just
It's
now.
like, wow, what's your point? Just, can you skip forward to the part where you make a point where you say, actually, Jen, biology is scientific, and this is why, and I can articulate it, and I'll be like, whoa, awesome. But you can't do that, can you?
I'm literally just asking a simple question, or what I thought was a simple question, but if you don't want to answer that, we can move on.
What's the
Okay.
simple question?
If I want to know, you said biology is not science, and so if I want to know,
It's not salient to the point. It's like you're talking about watering grass. It's like, can you
is
tell
that
me
not
how
is that
biology isn't evolution? What about biology doesn't concern genetic deterministic evolution?
so what you're saying is, so are you saying, well, first, I don't think biology and evolution are the same thing. Evolution is a subset of biology. Okay,
So
they're
what
not
in
they are not
biology
one to
doesn't have
one.
to do with evolution, specifically genetic determinism?
I literally just asked you a question that has nothing to do with evolution. Like, what is the optimal amount of water for my grass?
That's a biology question now.
Okay, so it is a biology question.
Is
All
it?
right.
Well,
That's what I
I'm
wanted to
asking you
figure
if
out.
it is, because to me that seems like a gardening question.
It is a biology question because I'm asking you about this living
You
organism,
need to know
grass.
biology to put water on your grass, or you just need to have a thing of water and be like, I don't
I'm
like yellow
asking you,
grass.
is grass a living organism? Yes or
Let's
no?
not go down this Socratic
Okay, I think you already see where I'm going with this. All right,
yeah,
so let's get to the point that I'm trying to, or that I should make.
Can you see the
So
point
one of
I'm trying to make?
your point was lost, I'm afraid. So
So you don't see the point I'm trying to make. You're trying to assert the ability to teach me, but you haven't established your authority yet. So this is advice for not just you, but everybody. Establish your authority before you presume to teach somebody.
I will
Because it's kind
not
of
be
insulting.
swayed that biology is a science. Is a comment from you.
You can feel free to tell me what scientific hypotheses that have been validated that, quote, biology is proffered. I'm all ears.
That doesn't make biology science. Does the heart pump blood?
You can't predict
Do
why
we
the heart
understand
pumps
how
blood.
that?
That's the
Do
irony
we
of it. It's like,
understand
why
how
does the
that
heart pump
works?
blood? Why does the
Right.
heart have 4 chambers? You don't know the answer. I do, but you don't.
You
right?
were
So it's
asking
like,
me.
this is funny.
These are different questions in biology, but biology is a field which encompasses all of these questions. And the fact that you just say offhandedly biology isn't science, when biology encompasses all these things.
Feel free to tell me where it's science. Just go ahead and give me an example. Jen, here's a biology theory that's scientific, that rises to a level of science, and here's the predictions that it makes. And there you go, Jen, you're wrong. Boom. And TJump can have a chuckle, and everybody can go home happy, finally.
Okay, so you want like a prediction of biology? Is like all living organisms have cells.
I can give you some predictions in physics.
All living organisms have cells. Have you ever found a living organism that doesn't have cells? That's a prediction of biology.
That's not a prediction, okay? You're not telling me what the cell is, where it comes from, why it looks the way it does, how it
That is a separate question. You are trying to conflate. You are trying to conflate a lot of issues.
Listen to me. That's a definition.
You are trying to conflate a lot of different issues.
Okay, here's a question. What's the difference between a description and a prediction?
What is the difference between a description and a prescription?
You're the one who's here supposedly going to educate me. Why don't you tell me that simple metaphysical distinction?
Jen,
go ahead. I'm not a metaphysicist.
So, if you guys could both give your definition of science and say why biology is not or is science, I think that would be helpful. So Jen, could you start by saying what science is and why biology isn't a science?
Sure, thanks.
Sure. Good.
What is science? It is the making of models, predicting effects. It's not about predicting something that's never been observed before. What are the chances of that? It's about taking simple ingredients. That's the art of science, is choosing the simplest ingredients to then craft a machine-esque thing, aka model, which when you plug in some values, it tells you, everything about how the system's going to evolve in time. And then you can validate these things. And that's the beauty of science, is you can say, well, look, it told us, 99% or 98%. And so that tells us something about a confidence interval.
And biology isn't a science.
That's what gives science its legitimacy. That's what gives science its legitimacy.
Okay, and biology
to validate its models. Biology doesn't rise to the level of science because I can look at, it's essentially a description. It's saying, well, evolution happens this way, and that's it. But if we take a look at something like, we'll share a diagram, there's really no connection between what the predictions are, which I'm not even aware of anyone who can actually make predictions based on this model, but I did make some predictions. So one of them would appear to be that there should be a connection between the complexity of a species, aka how evolved it is, how long its genetic code is. Is that a prediction of this shit model or not?
Well, before you
not a
first, Jackson. Wait. Let Jackson go. Say, what is science and why is biology a science?
Well, actually, I'm fine with her definition of science. It seemed fine to me. Taking observations, experiments, whatever, and then using those to make predictions about the future. That's fine with that. But I'm not. When you take you can take observations. It's kind of weird to say observations are like divorced from biology, because you have observations which make up biology, and also you have like, evolutionary theory, which is a subset of biology. Right?
Yeah.
This is
If I
part
take
of
a
the
bunch of pictures of stuff, that doesn't mean anything. It just means I
And
have a picture of stuff.
Sure, but you
So
said
if I'm cataloging stuff and I make tree drawings based on my own little hallucinations of my own perceived
so. I want to
competence,
ask. Okay, so I do want to
that
ask about
doesn't
that.
mean anything. Is my point.
I
It's
do want to
okay
ask
if you
that.
don't know, because
Why?
honestly, if I were in your position, I wouldn't have any way to push back on what I'm
Why
saying
do
right
you
now.
think people draw those trees? What do you think those are representing?
I know is the progression of the. Oh my gosh, I understand the
No.
logic of it. I understand what
Okay,
they
then
are talking about.
explain. If we're looking at a phylogeny of Hominidae, what is it expressing?
What are we talking about here exactly? The
What is a
punctuated
phylogeny
equilibrium
of
tree, or
Hominidae? What is it expressing? What does that tree, that hallucination, what is that expressing or attempting to express?
I'm not disagreeing with you that you
I don't care whether you
catalog
disagree. I'm
various
asking,
species,
what does it express? What does that
various
tree
species over time
No.
that are presumed to be in the same family tree
Okay,
based on
but
their
what is
qualities.
okay? They're in the
I mean,
family
that's an
tree
insultingly obvious question. It's just like, whoa,
because
dude,
you want to
chill
answer
fuck
the
out.
question. What is
Because it's
leading the
self-evident.
research? What is no?
Not
It's
listening to what
not
I'm saying. You're
self-evident.
not addressing
What
my
is
concerns. It's like my
leading?
disagreement with you is on
What
the
is
interpretational level. It's not rising to the level of science. It would be better for you to just listen to what does rise to the level of science, and then we can move on from there. But instead, you're stuck in this mode of thinking you could teach me something, and it's like the evidence doesn't match up with that, but you're still drilling.
The fact
Why?
that you will not answer a single question is kind of interesting. But the fact, okay, let me try it a different
You
way.
haven't earned the right
Let's-
to ask me any
let's-
questions, my friend. That's the point I'm
You're
trying
in
to
a
make.
talk with me. What are you talking about?
Well, first, maybe you should try to establish your authority. I don't know. Doesn't that make kind of sense? Like, here's the reason why you should trust what I'm saying.
I don't
That's what makes
care
sense
if
to
you
me.
trust what I say. I don't care.
Why would I trust your interpretations of
You
my
can
logic?
go. You can go look up any of these. That's why I wanted to. That's why I wanted to have the freaking the.
Well, what is looking up going to change
PowerPoint.
anything?
Are you
What
just
is
a
you blabbing through
contrarian?
stuff
Are
I've
you
heard a
just a
bunch of times?
contrarian? Is that all you are? You're just. I don't care what I read. I don't care what anyone says. But actually, that would
I
explain.
care about arguments. I care
That
about
would
arguments.
actually
It doesn't appear you can make
explain
an argument right now.
why you said publishing in journals is blue pilled. Whatever. That would explain that actually.
They have a
Okay.
rigid metaphysics. They only
Let
allow
me-
materialist reductionism. Okay, do you understand
Okay,
what that means? It means that you have to
let's-
embrace their metaphysics, which is that particles exist.
Let's make
yada,
this
yada, yada,
simpler.
Bottom-up ontology, etc.,
Jen,
etc.
let's-
I don't think they're
let's
following
make this
what I'm saying.
simpler.
This is kind of boring.
Let's make this simpler because you still won't answer my question. So when we're just not even outside of our species, just within our species, if we take individuals from different cultures, continents, whatever, and we arrange them into a phylogeny, how do we know who's related to who? What do we use?
I imagine there's a bunch of different things you can do, and has to do with their phenotypic qualities. Okay,
If
and a
they're
bunch of other stuff, including
if
where
they're
they
what?
Is there phenotypic qualities like
Okay, but what is I mean,
thing looks
yeah,
like?
well, what is their phenotype arising from?
Evolution? No one's
I mean,
denying
what in
no one's
your
denying that evolution is a thing. It's about
not
how
even asking
evolution
about
works.
I'm not even asking about evolution. I'm asking you about your DNA. It is their DNA, right? It is your DNA which gives rise to your phenotype. Right? Your genes are expressed and this gives
No.
rise to your phenotype.
That is incorrect.
Okay.
Your mind gives
Okay.
rise to everything, so whatever. But you said you didn't want to get into my viewpoint for whatever reason.
Okay, so when
Um,
I knock out genes, for instance, in mice or flies, why do they have difference? Why do they have differences?
Everything you're observing is still true if the mind is the prime mover. Okay, so
I don't
you
care if
can't
the mind
look-
is the prime mover. It does
well,
not matter to me.
obviously you don't care. That's why you're losing so horribly, and everyone's in the audience like, "Whoa, this guy's getting spanked."
Jen, hold up. So you said DNA is not what causes
TJump's
phenotypes.
gotta come rescue you now.
Jen, could you explain what they are? What is phenotypes? If it's not DNA, what is it?
The mind makes everything, so it does the DNA, and then the DNA is the thing that proxy
The
for the mind in
mind
the body.
does the DNA, and the DNA creates
Yeah, what
the
do you
body.
think orients the DNA? I can show you.
What do I think orients
I
the
agree.
DNA? Well, there are a number of epigenetic factors which can orient DNA in the nucleus, and then
So you have no
the
model.
genes
You're
can be
just
expressed.
sort of throwing out. You're like, some stuff, and then maybe some stuff is what did it, and it's complex. Okay, it's really complex. Do you want to actually see what a model looks like? What a real scientific model looks like? So I can go. I don't know if I can go on video right now, but I will and show you how to predict the shape of DNA.
I just
Actually,
told you
scientific.
not
You didn't, bud.
specifically what it does.
You said a bunch of words. You said some gibberish, and I'm just like, bruh, that's not a scientific
Epigenetics is
model. That's a
not
list of
gibberish.
things.
You have DNA methylation, chromatin remodeling. There are lots of different processes which change how DNA is oriented in the nucleus, and which leads some parts to be transcripted while other parts are not, or transcribed, sorry, not transcripted, while other parts are not. There are different processes.
Dude, a model.
Okay. So,
The model
you
is
take
there's some
DNA,
stuff, you put it
right?
together, and then you get the result. So predict to me the double helix spiral using a simpler geometry.
You
Oh
want me
wait, you
to
can't.
predict to you a known molecule which has been known for 70 years.
Don't you think it might be useful to know why it looks the way it does? Just the fact that you know what it looks like. Now what, you think you can just put your feet up and it's solved? Like you don't care how it's formed or how it sustains itself or anything. It's like this is why you lose. And we'll always lose. Every
TJump,
debate.
I understand now. I see what you were saying. I really do now. Okay.
Well, who's
All
right?
right.
Like, have you considered the possibility that I'm right here? Because I am. And it's
Have I
like,
considered the
when are we just
Yeah,
gonna
it was
admit
very
that?
brief. It was a very brief consideration, I promise you. I don't even know why I took these notes. Okay, whatever.
Well, we just need to I can maybe explain to you why I don't agree with your
So,
metaphysical
if I
position, and you
if I
can tell me
knock
what you
out
think about that.
if I knock out a gene, if I know what this gene's gonna do when we create this offspring with this knocked out gene, why is it knocked out if it has nothing to do
All
with the
that
mind? Or
stuff
if
is
sorry, if
still
it's about the
true.
mind.
All that stuff is still true.
Okay.
My theory holds. My theory just gives you more information, okay?
Okay,
So
so
it doesn't
so if
negate
that's
anything. You like if it's DNA. Okay, so you're saying it's DNA to mind. You're saying it's DNA to mind and DNA to body. I'm saying it's mind to DNA body.
great. Okay.
So how can you tell who's right? The fact is that you can't. I'm right. You think
Okay.
you're right because you're
Great.
in a metaphysical prison.
Wonderful.
I'm here
Okay,
to rescue
so you. Okay, so I again want to understand the degree to which you accept common ancestry. I'd like to return to that because
100%. I don't deny
100%.
anything.
Okay.
I don't deny anything. I deny your interpretation, okay? I have to be
Wonderful.
able to distinguish the difference. It's like I'm not denying that you uncovered some dead animals, bruh.
Great.
I'm
Okay, so if
denying
I
how
tell
they
you,
came to look like that. You can't tell me from first principles why the heart beats the way that it does. I can predict that using my model. I can predict a 4-chambered pump. So it's
so
like,
why
okay,
is it that
I'm
some
not gonna
animals
listen
don't
to
have
your stuff.
4-chambered pumps?
That's a different question. We agreed we weren't going to go into my model, but the point is that you have to understand this from my position, that you're not going to convince me, and maybe try to understand why I can't be convinced rather than just try to double down with an explanation.
Oh, I think I know why. All right. Look. Okay, so you accept common ancestry. That's great. Okay. So we'll move from there. So you said mutations have nothing to do with macroevolution. Correct? I don't want to straw man your
Macroevolution is a quantum mechanical process, and the evidence is something called punctuated equilibrium. So you're looking for a profile. Is something continuously deforming, or is it quantized? Because those are sort of two ends of the spectrum, mathematically speaking, that you can work with. What do we observe when we look
Right.
at the overall tree of life? We see
It
basically nothing
depends
but
on what you're
mother
looking at.
effing punctuated mother effing equilibrium, or do we see continuous deformations all way?
Why would it be continuous deformation? What those are?
Because that's exactly what the mutations
I really
model
don't think
predicts.
you
Like,
understand what.
you don't even understand what this model predicts.
I'm
It's like
curious.
if it's
Okay.
slow going mutations, that predicts slow change, i.e., continuous deformation over long periods of time. How come we don't see that? Oh, right,
What do you
because it
mean?
functions on a quantum basis.
Why
It's
are
like,
you asserting there would only be deformation? What are you saying? Like they would
the
just
model
be?
predicts. It's like it's funny because you don't understand how to make predictions from this model. Like I've given you two, and you're like, doesn't predict that. It's like I'm afraid it does because
I don't
I just hate having
understand
to
what
like
you're
tell
even.
you what biology
What
is.
do you
There,
think
like
punctuated equilibrium is? Please explain to me what you think it
an
is.
observation in the fossil record that indicates that there is very little change for a long period of time, followed by a step up to to a different species, which has been inferred to be along the same evolutionary line based on common traits.
Okay,
What do you
so
take
that
me
is
for?
a way. You don't want the answer. Okay, so that is a way
Yeah,
that evolution
exactly.
can
It's like,
proceed.
look in the mirror,
Yes,
man. Like, why are you
that
demeaning
is
me so much?
one way. I don't know what you keep saying deformation. Gradualism is not about deforming, unless you're using
know
that
what
in a way
math
different than
is?
I am.
And
We could be
okay,
using
well,
that
I'm
in
using
two
it in a
different ways.
mathematical
Jen, what's deformation? What is deformation?
What do you-
mean
yeah, what
in
do you mean by
model?
that?
Deformation. When you talk about math, you have continuous functions, okay? And in topology, you have continuous deformations, but it still trivially applies to functions. You can have a y equals 2x as a formation, right? A doubleture, so to speak. That's what I mean. So it's about whether something is changing continuously. I.e., when you walk from one end of the room to the other, you don't
You
like
just mean
disappear and
change
reappear,
continuously.
right?
You just mean change.
It's
It just change. That's just what you mean by.
no.
Then
You know
you
when you
keep-
turn on a light? You know when you turn on a light, how the light just pops on? You know how when you wake up, you're just awake? It's not like you have to be like 5% awake for a minute and then 10 and then 15. It's just like, bam! That's quantized because it's a stepwise. Okay? That is not opposite, but the antipode of continuous. So the question is this model continuous or discrete, aka quantized? The answer is motherfucking continuous on a big enough time scale. Why? Because the way they say it works is that there's no mutation, which means there's greater fecundity, which over time means all the things in the thing have the same trait. Do you have any idea how frickin' long that would take?
it
about that
depends
for
on
a
what
frickin'
organisms
second.
you're looking at.
I am
Depends on-
speaking in generalities, my friend.
And in general, it depends on what group you're looking at. It takes a different amount of time for bacteria than it would for like sharks.
Not about that. It's about whether we expect the deformation to be continuous or quantized. Do you understand how those are two opposite ends of a particular spectrum?
Want me to blow your mind? What if it's a combination of both? Which is what we actually
Dude.
see. Some things do gradually continually
there's
change.
de-evolution too, which you
I'm
apparently
not talking
don't
about
believe in.
de-evolution. So if we're looking at like foraminifera, for instance, and we see this long, gradual change or through the different period or through the different epochs, really, because they're changing on a much faster scales. We see these gradual changes, right? They're gradually changing. It's not just all of a sudden there they are, right? And even punctuated equilibrium is actually a form of gradualism because when we're talking about rapid, in quotes, we're actually talking about hundreds of thousands to millions of years. So even then, it's
Well, I just shared a diagram in the chat, and those appear to be like pretty dang quick.
I don't
look
know
like
where
steps
what
up. They look like
what
you're
chat are we
stepping up
looking
some
at?
stairs, and it's like it's literally all stair steps.
What chat are
And
we
you're
looking at?
literally not the
Jen,
first
which
person
chat?
I've had this convo with.
Jen, which chat did you post the
Main
image in?
stage chatter. I thought it was supposed to go in main stage chatter.
Main stage.
Should be like right in live events. It's the first one at the bottom.
And then someone called Leslie
Okay, I clicked on
posted
it.
a picture right after me.
Go to the very bottom. There's a picture of the. Is that the evolutionary
No,
tree?
that's not it. Main stage.
Open original. Jen, it's way too small to even read.
What is this? A diagram for ants?
Oh, main stage
Okay.
chatter. There.
I'm just gonna go
Okay,
ahead.
I'm
just gonna go ahead and
here
blame
now.
Discord. I'm gonna go ahead and blame Discord. I got nothing. But you can
This
easily
is
look
this
up
is okay.
the-
So I see what we're looking at. So this is not with reference to time. This is just with reference to relation.
Oh, the middle is the beginning, and it's a logarithmic scale from the center.
It's not about time. Do you understand that? This is not a time scale. This is just a relationship scale. Like these relationships are literally not expressing time.
I think
Yeah,
he's
there's
got
no
you on that
connection
one.
to
Is there time? A time?
There
like
are
X and Y?
phylogenies which express
honestly-
on time, but this is not one of them. I mean, this is just a picture
This
of
is recalculus, okay? And I don't bring that term out a lot, okay? Listen to
don't know
this. The first fucking diagram's got time on the axis. It's like, look in the wiki. Probably, some people like to shit on wiki, but like, come on. It's got time in the axis. It's like, yeah, it's times, yeah. It's kind of a thing. There's not much change. So what'll happen is there's a state transition, and then it's like boom, a new thing, and then it slowly degrades, which is de-evolution. You could call it that. So there's a push and pull. So there's a quick ascension and then a degradation, and that's the one that can register changes to the genetic code, but doesn't actually change the overall phenotype. Whereas the macroevolution event, the punctuated thing, that is like a literal quantum state transition. So it would be a mother giving birth to something that wouldn't be able to reproduce with her species.
I mean, that can happen with allopolyploidy, but it's not a normal thing.
That's how it works with everything. It's all quantum, so I just think your theory makes no sense.
I don't know what you mean by that. Other than like on a very, as you said, trivial sense that like, yes, mutations are like quantum level stuff, but other than that, I don't know what you mean by that.
It means that life, like what's the difference between life and non-life?
That is a really interesting question.
It's a photon waveform.
Right.
And that's the ordering principle.
Okay.
It's not that far-fetched. I mean, the sun's right there. I mean, for it to be anything else would be illogical.
Okay.
It's just one thing. That's the tricky part, is that's just one field. Or, I mean, field may not be the right term, but it's one entity.
So the difference between like a virus and a living cell is sunlight, is what you're saying?
Well, I would say that a virus is not life. It's life adjacent. It can be crystallized.
I would agree with you.
It does not have a see, here's the difference, is that everything has a trivial photonic field because the photons are what mediate the electronic changes. But when you go to a non-trivial field, that's when you're into life. So the virus on its own doesn't have a non-trivial field because in the evidence that it can be crystallized. And so you can just say like it's life adjacent. So it's probably sort of speculated earlier that it's the thing that's responsible for like mixing up the overall genetic code to make it easier to fit in with the environment, like that adaptation thing. That they're part of the cycle of life that makes us. Someone was saying it really well the other day that like you don't want to be too well adapted to the environment, and that to some extent it's better to be less well adapted because then if there's a change in the environment, it's not deleterious. Whereas if you're highly adapted, it can be. Anyway, just an aside.
Sure. Okay. Anyway, all right. So back to the point that I was making about how these changes are occurring broad scale. So so we're both in agreement that you said you accept common ancestry broadly. So we're in agreement on that. Okay. But I'm while I'm still a little lost on what you mean by deformation.
The model. You don't have a scientific model. You just have a hypothetical speculation.
Okay, so if
I'm just sad because
evolutionary biologists make
I'm saying here.
If evolutionary biologists make a prediction and that prediction comes true,
because they can't.
So have you not heard of Tiktaalik or Microraptor or Sphica myrma or Diarthrognathes?
It can't predict the heart, okay?
Do you want me to explain how these things were predicted? Because I will.
If you need to explain how it's predicted, you're doing it wrong. It should be self-evident. Like, oh, interesting, you made a prediction. I guess I can't get on video now, but if I could, I would. And I would show you how to predict the shape of DNA from a simpler basis.
Evolution doesn't make predictions, and I'm trying to explain that it has already done that in a lot of different cases.
Can you talk me through from step one how the model predicts the outcome? No, you can't. You can say the outcome is consistent with the description, but you can't tell me how the model
let him answer. Let him answer. Don't just tell him.
All right. So, for instance, we know based on genes, and that was the thing I was trying to get to earlier with making phylogenetic trees, and that never came about. But we know from using genes that the closest relative of tetrapods, that's amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals, are sarcopterygian fish, or lobe-finned fish, specifically lungfish and coelacanths. So, we know this based on genetics, and we had some fossils, like the Astega and Eustonopteron, these guys, and had an approximate time period for when this transition likely occurred. And so, these researchers, Neil Shubin was one of them, predicted that in a certain area of the Earth, there were rocks of a certain age, And in those rocks of a certain age, we should find a tetrapod-like fish, or a fish like tetrapod, which has characteristics intermediate between those of Eusthenopteron and Ichthyostega. They made this prediction based on what they knew, and they went to a place on Earth where rocks of this certain age were known, and they found the animal Tiktaalik, which is intermediate in characteristics between Eusthenopteron and Ichthyostega. That is a prediction Shubin et al. Made based on knowledge of evolution. Yes?
Interpolating between two known states is not a prediction, I'm afraid. I'm very sorry.
The fact that this thing wasn't known, they figured out where it would probably be, went to where it probably would be,
it hasn't already been observed.
found it.
If you already
That's literally what a prediction is.
It's not a very great prediction, is it? You're saying we have this thing and that thing, and there should be something in between it.
Yes,
We
that's
found
how.
something in between it. Wow, that's a relational prediction relative to two. That doesn't actually say anything about how evolution
That's
happens.
how-
So you understand that, right?
That is how people make predictions about evolution in the distant past.
I guess
We
I
can
don't
observe
understand it the same
how-
way. To me,
we
a
can
prediction
observe
has to take
how
a certain
evolution
form, and that's not
works.
it. I'm sorry.
We can observe how evolution works in the present. We can't, in the vast majority of cases, look at the genes of fossils. So we have to infer in the present how genetics are transferred from one generation to the next. And then we look at the fossil record, and we, the paleontologists, look at the fossil record and say, okay, if evolution is true, based on what we know about how organisms change over time, we should be able to find a fossil which is in between these two states, as you said, and then they found it. That's a prediction, and that's been done a bunch of times.
Uh-huh. That's not what I would qualify as a prediction.
I'm sorry, but that's what the paleontologists,
So,
the biologists, that's
You've
what they all
decided that
consider a
that's
prediction.
science.
Wait,
I'm
Jen,
saying
Jen,
that's not a prediction.
Jen, tell
Because
us.
a prediction has to come from a model.
Jen,
I'm
tell us
afraid.
what your
This is
kind
a
of prediction
model.
is. Jen, tell
it's
us what
not.
you mean by prediction and why that's not a prediction.
A model actually has to tell you something about the mechanics of a system.
You mean like a
You're
priori by
not
just looking at the
telling
structure of the
us
model?
anything about the mechanics. You're saying, here's a species here. No idea how it got here. Here's another species
That's
here.
not what
no
they
idea
said.
how it got here either.
That's
And
also
we're gonna
not what
guess
they
that there's
said.
probably something that's like in the center of these two and an average of their morphogenic resonance. And we're gonna assume it's here. That's one prediction. It's like that is first of all not how predictions work.
To
A prediction
predict,
has to. Can I
to
just get it
declare
out if you
or
don't
tell
mind
in
explaining?
Yeah.
advance.
Let's Jen, go ahead and finish. Let
In
we'll
order
let
to
Jen
make a
finish.
prediction, here's how it works. Okay, you got to take something simple. Okay, that's your axiom. Take your simple axioms. You tie them together in a bow. You know, chop them up and make a salad with them. I don't know. Pick your metaphor, but you rearrange them into some sort of pump, which gives you information. That's a model. Okay? And a model as good as one that is really hyper predictive, i.e., super accurate, i.e., 100% accurate. And it can be 100% accurate because there's a precedent for it to be 100% accurate to whatever that means within a universe sort of founded on uncertainty. That's a different thing. We're not agreeing here.
TJump, I don't think she's real. I'm calling it. I don't think she's real.
Well, there's a theory. There's a non-scientific theory in this very server.
I
That
do not
bought.
believe you. I do not believe you are real. I'm sorry.
You have two states in human. You have, I suppose, you could be a drone or a robot. Trust me, you want that robot.
I do not believe you that you are a real person giving me what you think is the real answer. I'm sorry. This is ridiculous.
Well, what I'm saying accords with what a lot of other people have said. What you're saying,
I don't know anyone who thinks like you do. I do not know a single person.
Well, most Hindus don't agree with evolution because they already have a model that's way better than this crap.
Great.
Dashavatar. That's
Most
not even that
flat
good.
earthers don't agree with evolution either. Wonderful.
But Dashavatar is more scientific than your crap, which is actually it sort of obfuscates the truth to say that it happens by mutation. It sort of gives you an unclear.
You know what?
picture of how it really happened.
I made this whole PowerPoint. I have like example after example of gene duplications conferring new functions. I have like transitional
you can't
fossils.
tell me why
why
does the DNA look the way it does?
Wait, Jen, let him finish now, and then you can go back to you.
I'm just venting at this point, TJump, because you know what? I'm sorry. I did. I walked into it. I did it. I did
We
it.
could have figured this out last night. That's why I wanted to talk to you. It's like, wouldn't you rather know what my theory
It's not
is,
that you
so
know
could
what
actually
I
push back
know,
against
that
it?
you have nothing to learn. It's that you have absolute nonsense that you are trying to pass off, I think. And if I assume that you're being real, you are trying to pass off absolute nonsense. You reject everything I have given you, and
I
you
don't
have no
disagree with
response.
any of the evidence. I disagree with your interpretation. You seem incapable of comprehending that it's
I
possible to
literally
disagree
gave
on
you
that level.
a specific prediction, and you said,
So
I don't care.
I'm not allowed to
Well,
disagree with
wait,
your
wait.
interpretation.
So I think she didn't say I don't care. What she said is that by her definition, a prediction isn't like an empirically verified phenomenon. It's a priori feature of a model. So like if you have a model with axioms, the conclusions of those axioms are what she calls a prediction, I think. So
Well,
is that fair, Jen?
Evolution is not math. I mean, there are
think
aspects of
so,
evolution that
TJump, and
involve math.
I wouldn't be the only one to say that. I mean, I think that's essentially how physics sees it, which is why physics is to some extent a science, right? There's errors in the method, but it is a science because it actually gives you a model or models like thermodynamics and stuff that can then tell you things that are verifiable.
So if I tell you like population genetics is like full of models as to how alleles flow from generation to generation, that would you say that that's a model?
Thing now. It would be mature now to just say, I can't convince Jen. That's fine, and maybe try to understand why you can't convince me.
Oh,
Maybe
I
you'll
think
learn
I
something.
have.
Is it
I
so
think I have an
inconceivable?
idea of why I can't do it.
Is it so inconceivable that you could learn something from me?
I don't think I learned anything other than this was a waste of time.
Absolutely
It's
not.
really
This
sad.
was definitely not a waste of time. My viewers are absolutely loving this. They're cracking up
Oh,
like
good.
They're loving it. Oh, I'm
Yep.
so glad.
So
Thank
glad.
you. Wonderful.
I'm a big fan of TJump. Give TJump money, everybody. He's great. Look at all the crap he puts up with for you imbeciles. Moving on. Anyway, how can we salvage this? That's why I was saying, like, I have 9 pages of notes.
Jesus Christ,
This
it's only
debate,
been half
but
an hour.
obviously not going to use any of them, right? Because I was just trying to get to the point where it was like, can we just agree to disagree metaphysically?
Oh,
and then I'll tell
man.
you why I disagree metaphysically, and you'll probably agree with me eventually.
I wish I were
like
an
everybody else
alcoholic.
does.
Oh no. Okay.
Already
All right. Why don't
wants-
you tell me
yes.
your model? Go ahead. Just give it to me while I get my video game set up. Tell me your model. I'm
think
curious.
This idea that you can play video games while learning the most difficult thing among,
Yep.
the most difficult secular thing one can learn is a bit of a misconception.
Okay.
Well,
So all right.
Well, to be fair, Jen,
Explain it
I
to
was,
me. We've got an hour and a half.
Well, to be fair, Jen, I was playing a video game when I accurately represented your model, so I think it is logically possible.
There you go.
I just think it's a bit irresponsible, but I mean, if that's
No,
how you
no,
wanna play it.
We've got an hour and a half. You go ahead. You tell me all about your model.
Yeah, I can't wait to get ignored
I'm listening to you. I've got my
by
headphones
people
in. I'm
playing
listening.
video games.
Look, I will put it on mute so that way you can't even hear it. There we go. All right, go ahead. Tell me about your model.
I'm good. I thought we weren't going to talk about my model. Don't you want to know about my issues with your model?
Sure,
Isn't that
go
the
ahead.
Socratic way?
Sure, go ahead. Tell me all about your issues with my model.
Well, what is the weakest aspect of your model, do you think?
What do I think?
I honestly don't think you have an answer, which is why I want to ask the question. So please feel free to prove
the
me wrong.
weakest aspect of evolution. I think trying to speculate about like really distant biochemical processes is probably fairly weak because you have to, like I said, you have to extrapolate a lot. So there's a lot of speculation involved. So I would say that's probably what I think is the weakest aspect of it. But that's not something that I personally invest a lot in. So maybe I'm just talking.
That was a good question, though. I do think that was actually a very
absolutely. That's a good question.
Well, it's speculation. Everything's speculation. So you're not actually answering the question. What speculation is the one that is the weakest?
Well,
I know what the weakest aspect of my positions are.
Wait, he answered that. Jen, he answered that. He said the weakest speculation is speculating about like really, really distant biochemical like interactions, like abiogenesis kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Is probably
okay. So like the idea that DNA or RNA evolved into DNA.
That would be an example.
Like that. A lot of that sort of like, we're talking like 4 billion years ago. How is that stuff occurring? Like, I think that there's a lot of speculative stuff involved in that. So that's what I would probably say.
Yeah, it seems a bit crazy, doesn't it? That it would
I'm
be
not a biochem
RNA out of
person.
nowhere,
I'm not
and then
about.
DNA
I
out
don't
of
think.
nowhere.
I also don't think anyone says that, but I'm not a biochem person, so I'm not qualified to talk about any of that. Which is why I say, from my perspective, it seems the weakest to me.
Well, scientifically, we can tell that DNA arose with the advent of the planet. There's almost no time that went by between when the planet was formed and when it had life on it that was DNA based.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what?
So, well, I mean, they say there's some time, but it's the same order of magnitude. Like the Earth is dated to 4.5 billion, and there's been
Mhm.
life there, DNA based. Like it's never been established that there was ever RNA based life that evolved into DNA based life. That's JF's theory, I think. But
From
it's
what I
to me that it's not
understand,
right.
the original, so the original genome, Luca's genome, would have been an RNA genome, and then the DNA genome evolved independently in both bacteria and archaea, which is why they have different transcription mechanisms. That's at least what that's very broadly what I understand.
And just to
So
clarify,
does that
the earliest form of life happened like 1 billion years or so after the Earth was created.
Well, I mean, you have like 4.5 billion years ago, and then somewhere between 4 and 3.8 billion years ago is at least from what I've seen the current estimate.
So about
for
like
the
a half
earliest
billion years or something
Sure.
like that.
Sure, yeah,
that's
something
the
like
same
that.
order of magnitude, but okay. So that is what I
Sure.
said, but thank you for the correction. It is good to be accurate. That doesn't, again, invalidate anything I said. It
I
appears
wasn't
that
disagreeing. I don't think.
it appears that the water and the moon are the necessary preconditions for life. So the
Okay.
moon plus the water equals basically inescapable photons. Because without the moon, they would just radiate off. But because of the moon, instead of just having purely radial velocity, quote unquote, momentum, there's a little bit of tangential momentum because of the moon.
Mm-hmm.
So that binds right here, which is how life works.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the most damning thing, to be honest, and I posted it earlier, is this genetic length of species. There is no correlation between how, or almost none, between complexity and length of genetic code. That should tell you
Correct.
something.
That's called.
That should tell
That's
you a
like
big
the
effing red flag. Doesn't it tell you a red flag of some sort? Because that's literally the model
really?
is genetic determinism.
No, genetic
If it's not
determinism is
genetic
not the
determinism, tell me
same
how it's
as.
not genetic determinism.
It's not really what genetic determinism is, but also there's a name for that. That's the, what is it, the C paradox or whatever? It's like, why is there so much DNA, in, say, an amoeba, right? There's like 4 times as many nucleotides in an amoeba than there are in people, right? But we would normally consider like, oh, an amoeba's not as complex, quote, quote, as a human is. So what is the reason for that? It kind of depends on their evolutionary history. Do they have a lot of junk DNA? Is it like pseudogenes? Are they really using it for different processes? It really depends. Why is it Fugu has so little junk DNA while we have so much? It just depends on which species we're looking at.
You have no answer, right? You can't predict who's going to have more junk or less junk DNA. What if I could tell you why they have how much DNA they have?
Please
Because
get your
of
model
mechanical
published.
necessities.
Please get your model published. I beg you. Please.
So
You
you're
are going to
not going to
be
look at the model until it's published, and it's not
you
going
are
to be
going to
published because
be
I have dissident
an
metaphysics.
absolute.
It's not going to be
So
published.
okay. So
It's
do
not going to be
you
published until it's
understand
been
that, like, everyone says, like, okay, so that's what I hear a lot of the. Well, I'm not in the in-group, therefore no one's going to publish my thing. Lynn Margulis, hello, or Barbara McClintock, or Stephen Gould and Niles Eldridge. They were certainly the out-group when they were first publishing. Why did their model get accepted, but yours won't?
Oh, also, just to clarify, there are published papers in Psychic Powers. There's like several thousand of them. So it's not
Nice.
Not just in this field either.
There you go. There you have it, folks.
It's a very nice meme, quantum foam.
Oh, I didn't see it.
It's very sweet. It's got a real American flavor to it.
That's very funny. I like it.
Uh,
I like the memes like
Rayman
that. Although I
praise the
think my
periodic table.
favorite is the one of my favorites right now is like the guy who stands in the corner. Who says like they don't know that like the Star Wars prequels are my favorite or something like that. I like those memes. Those are my favorite right now. There's one where he's not there, and everyone else is like, "Oh man, good thing that guy's not here. He's weird," you know.
So I think the audience came for a dumpster fire. Do we need to
The
add
audience is more than entertained. Continue.
We could.
Anyway, you were saying, Jen. Continue.
I wasn't saying anything. I have some issues metaphysically with the model. And I guess my next question was, how would you know if your model was wrong? It doesn't appear you've really ever thought this through too much about how to check whether you've made the right assumptions about how you're grounding your model.
With regard to
doesn't-
what? There are different
There isn't even,
assumptions,
that's what I'm
different
saying,
models.
there isn't even a model. That's why biology is not science, because there isn't even a model.
Uh-huh.
Like in physics, at least there's a model. It's like, okay.
So if I tell you like
G-
there are models of how like alleles move through a population given a certain like percent of natural selection, is that not a model?
well, what's the model? Like, what is responsible?
Like
for
there's a whole
that?
mathematical fields as to how that happens. That's what
That's
population genetics
descriptive.
is.
That's descriptive.
What-
That's not a.
wait,
That's not a
Jen-
predictive
Jen,
model. That's
what-
a descriptive.
You're kind of flipping back and forth between different things. Like
Well,
I'm telling you,
I think Jen means something different than model by we do. There's a bunch of people in the audience
Okay.
who wanted to know like what is Jen's model, so we can understand what she means by model. So Jen,
Sure.
could you explain
Sure,
to
go
us
ahead.
what your model is and why that's a model? Like what are the properties of a model?
Right. Well, there's not like one diagram of the model. You know what I mean?
Okay.
There's
Okay.
a lot.
sure.
What would be good? I could.
Well, we'll start with explaining a model requires these things.
What would a model be?
Yeah, and then explain my model has these things. They are this.
Well, why don't you guys tell me, and I'll see where you're at, so I can figure out where's a good place to start while I try to find this diagram here.
Well, you keep saying that evolution isn't a model, and by our definition, it looks like a model by what we use, and so we want to know what your definition of model is so that we can try and figure
Do
out
you have
why.
a definition of model?
Sure.
It's fine if you don't. I mean, I'm not going to be upset if I would rather someone just say I don't know than try to make something up on the spot. Like if you don't know what a model is and it's just a word you use, I'm fine to say what it is, at least in physics, theoretically. Not that every model being bandied about in physics is correct.
Well, sure. So my understanding of a model is that it's a physical, mathematical, or conceptual representation of a system in the world, something like that.
It has to generally be geometric. Like, yes, that is correct, but the sort of presumption is that there's a geometry that predicts the mechanics. So, like in gravity, for example, you draw a circle and have the center of mass, and everything is drawn towards the center of the planet with vectors that are arrows pointing towards the center. That drawing tells you that, well, whenever you have mass, there's going to be a radial attraction towards the center equal to this amount, which is the product of the masses, blah, 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 divided by whatever. That's what a model is. Now, is that correct? Well, it tells us something, but it may not even be the absolute truth because it's not defined for r equals 0. So that's not the end of the world. It's just a limitation of the model. So the problem with biology is that there is no model. It's just a categorization system and a presumption that this mutation thing is the driving force for change.
So you're saying that
that's asserted
biology,
with no evidence.
but biology doesn't have geometric representations, therefore it's not a model?
If it were a model, it would make predictions, which we could then check to see if they were right. And it's not doing that. It's basically just making an
I
explanation.
mean, that's what I did with the common ancestry ones earlier. Tiktaalik. What I explained.
It's like, I'm not blaming you or anything, Jackson. Frankly, I think, you're a bit of a pickle as regards to indefensible position. I'm not saying there's no information that comes out of biology. I'm saying it doesn't rise to the level of science. These are two different things, right? So if we look at a simple thing, so what does it take to make a model? You need a bunch of simple axioms, right? And then specifically in physics, your axioms tend to be geometries because that's the whole point.
I mean, there are principles like, you have
So we've
alleles.
got some
Every
axioms.
generation is born with. Okay, fine.
Dude,
you
you
have.
sound like an NPC right now.
I'm trying to explain. I don't know what that.
He's having
okay.
an NPC meltdown.
Wait.
Allele.
So
It's like,
why
dude,
why isn't
You
that an
have
axiom?
alleles,
Wait, why
right?
isn't what he said an axiom? What's the difference between what he said and an axiom?
Every individual is born with alleles. Right?
alleles isn't an if you make alleles an axiom, you have to show how the allele gives rise to everything else. It's like you can't do that. Insane.
You
That's
have
crazy.
every organism is born with alleles, right? Every single one of them, and these have effects on the organism, and they're selected by the environment, right?
Those sound like axioms. I don't know why those wouldn't be axioms.
Yeah.
Because that's an observation, not an axiom. An axiom would be life is carbon based. Do we know that for sure?
No.
I mean, life on Earth is,
We have
as far
to
as we
pretty
know.
much assume it is if we want to have, a reasonable.
It seems to me
means to start
it's
making
less that.
assumptions.
It seems to me that's less about how science actually works and more that you're just kind of upset biology isn't physics per se. That seems to be more of what your
I'm
issue
upset
here
that
is.
biology is not science. And I'm upset
doesn't
that
really seem to
people
be
are
your
claiming
argument.
to be scientists who aren't. So,
Like,
that's
TJump
really
gave-
neither here nor there.
What is in essence, it does sound to me like it's sort of axiomatic, and we have these general principles, right? And we extrapolate from them, right? And we can make predictions, as I explained earlier. It just seems like the problem is everything isn't like absolute, like it is kind of in
Does it sound
physics.
like a
That
bunch
seems
of
to be
excuses or anything. It's like if I wanted a series
explaining
of
to
excuses,
you. I'm explaining to you how biology works. Like you've heard, for every
I
rule
already
there's
am
an
aware of how
exception.
you claim that it works. Okay, I'm aware of
Right.
it. It's like, can we
I
get
don't know,
past
I'm
the fact that I
having
already know all this
questions.
stuff? Just accept it. What's wrong with
Someone in the
that? I
chat,
put a diagram
a few people
that's
asked what
actually
game
science.
you're playing, Jackson.
Oh, I am playing Far Cry New Dawn. I like doing the missions.
I might suggest putting the game down for a minute and looking at the diagram I just shared, which is actually science.
And main
Seeing-
stage chat.
When you say that, isn't it just good enough for me to be crap at biology and play video games while having one of the most important debates this year? Isn't that just good enough, though? Come on.
I already debated
Two younger sisters,
Fuzz-Rana this
I've
year.
seen this
That
routine
one was
before.
far more important to me than this one is. I promise you.
Well, that was your mistake, Thinking that you had you presupposed that you had already won this before even starting.
No, Jen. He did not presuppose that. He presented notes, or he made a bunch of notes. He did a lot of work. I presupposed he was going to win this. I already knew how it was going to go. He actually did work, so he did not make that mistake. I did.
Wait, did I lose? Is that what happened?
Well, you didn't convince me. I mean, it would be crazy if you convinced me.
Give TJump $20 if I lost, and $30 if I won. There you go. I'm helping you out, TJump.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I don't want any of the proceeds. I want to forget that this happened. They're all yours.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who want to forget that they met me. Sad, but so they do.
Okay. All right. I don't know. What kind of TJump? What's a video game you would recommend? I guess.
Oh, I just got Biomutant. I'm on GameFly, so I like rent games. They send them to me for like $20 a month or whatever. So I just go through.
I remember that. Okay, that sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's nice because I buy so many games. It saves me a ton of money, so I can like platinum a game in about a week and then get a new game. So I can get like 4 games a month for like $20. So GameFly, I would highly suggest it because for $20 you can get 2 games at a time.
Yeah.
So I can like finish one while I sent the other one in. So they're sending me the new one, and I get it at the time I finish the other one. So I get a perpetual stream of games.
That's awesome. I like that. Okay, I'll have to check that out then. Let me make a note of that.
Absolutely. And right now I'm playing Biomutant, which is actually a really cool game. Like it was delayed and didn't get very good reviews, but it has a very like Fable kind of a feel to it, and I like it a lot. I'm really enjoying the system. They have a lot of really complex like item systems and building weapon systems. and it's not too bad. The combat system is simple enough that it's easy to get used to, but it is actual combos, which is great. So this is a game I'm really enjoying.
Okay, that does sound pretty cool. I'll have to check that one out. Because I don't know, how expensive games are now. I'm always like, do I really want this game? You know what I mean?
Yep, for sure. Like I was doing the GameStop thing where I would buy a game used and then return it within the next week, so I get a full refund. They kicked me out.
Oh, that's using the system. That's smart. I'm actually very excited for the next Far Cry game. I really enjoy the Far Cry series.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I guess the whole plan of me telling you guys how science works and you guys actually pretending to know so as to maintain some scrap of
No,
public
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jen. Go ahead, Jen.
If he likes Dark Souls,
it's up to
I've
you
never
guys
played
to
Dark
ask
Souls.
me. By the way, traditionally, like honestly, fuck both of you. You don't deserve teachings from me. But the point is that this is what science looks like. It's called a model that is simple and makes predictions, i.e., all those predictions. The fact that the heart should have 4 chambers. So blow me, you can't do that.
Like just in
Everything is
mammals and
shit.
birds,
It's
you mean?
probably going to be forgotten within 10 years. That's
So-
my
You
so-
mean just in mammals and birds, right? Because like
no one's going
reptiles
to care.
have
Oh yeah, darn!
3
I only predicted
chambers,
mammals and birds. Well, I guess I'll go get
and-
my other diagrams that do the others. Is
and
that what
fish.
you like? 'Cause
I find it
just
interesting.
stay on my metaphysical issues with your position, but I can keep.
See,
BTFOing
the thing
you
I
more
find
now and
interesting about
Wait,
this
wait,
is
wait,
that
wait,
you call it
Still play
predictions,
more
and then
video
none of
games,
these
that's
None of these are actually predictions. Like we already know the heart has 4 chambers. You didn't predict
Wow, you're
this.
such an expert on what's prediction, aren't you? I'm amazed at your mastery of science.
Yeah,
I'm just
I'd
saying,
like to hear this. I'd like to
Good
hear
thing I'm
Jen.
sitting
Jen,
down right
Jen,
now.
Jen,
Let's just put it
Jen.
that
Could you
way.
explain? Could you explain how your model predicts that there's 4 chambers in the heart?
I can.
Okay.
So we have to look at the diagram in the middle on the left.
Okay.
It's tough to keep navigating between these. But you have to understand that there's 2 things that determine the energy of the system. One is
Are we looking at the
how
one
far it
with
is-
the blue lines on the left and then the particles on the right? Photology.
there's no particles, okay?
As I'm trying to show the chat the same image. So is it the one that says photology at the top?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let me see. I can go to it live. See what it looks like. Yeah, so that's the basic precept of the theory. Everything's spherical. Spatial is spherical because the trinity of physical dimensions are equivalent. The trinity, transcendentally important, also approximately equal to Euler's number and pi. Nah. Ha. So we have this process basically of, like what I said earlier with Earth, like the 3-dimensional lens created by the wonderful moon. So it's like keeping it all in. So there's a massive part and a photon part. And the photon part starts out basically overlapping with the massive part. So they're the same volume. Then what happens is that like if there's more and more and more photons coming in, it's just like there's this like bubbling pressure, sort of like when water's about to boil type thing. But how does it work with photons? It's a very unique situation we have on Earth. So when there's a, symmetry breaking or whatever you want to call it, a phase change, the light field will basically just binary fission. You know what that is, don't you, Bob?
Wait, was there a conclusion hearts have 4 chambers somewhere in there and I missed it?
Yeah. It takes more than like 30 seconds to explain, divine science. Sorry, quote unquote.
Okay, well, keep going until you get to the hearts have 4 chambers part.
Yes, I'm very curious about this. Please do.
Are you following the logic so far? Because if I find out in 20 minutes that it's just been ignoring me and playing some dumb,
First of all, this game is
everywhere
not.
video game, I'm going to be
There
pissed.
are no boobs in this game. I'll have you know. I distinctly play non-boob video games.
You live a boring life, sir.
Well, I'm glad I can make you laugh, TJump. That makes this all worth it, honestly. Big fan. Anyway, okay, so we have
Like literally, the
the
last game I
binary
played was
fission.
Death Stranding. Not a single boob.
So top right-hand corner, binary fission. So if we start with the top one, which is the sphere, the big red sphere, if that splits in 2, it's going to still be constrained to the volume of a larger sphere, but it's only going to be tight packed 50%. You can see in the second one, right? So it's going to eject itself outside of the original boundary of where it was vibrating, oscillating, whatever you want to say. Following so far?
Mm-hmm.
This is probably the hardest part, is where the
Okay.
light field twists. So it's literally twisting into, that's binary fission. It's the same mechanism that causes cells to divide. So the question is, do we expect a binary fission, or maybe we would expect it to actually split into more spheres? Because theoretically, all the splittings are possible. Because in quantum, it's not about determinism. It's about ranges of potentiations. So from one perspective, there's less energy to split it into two. So binary fission. But then there's actually, you're saving a bit of energy to do a trinary fission, because you don't actually have to make, you being the quantum system, the quantum system doesn't have to put as much energy into the ejection force, because it's going to a closer distance from the center, which is the diagram on the left hand side in the middle. So you can see there's a descending. So first the boundary is the same as the light field, and then the light field is ejected to super far. So you can see on the second one, it's really far, and then it gets closer to the fourth one, and then it gets farther at the fifth one. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's really small, so you might have to zoom in, but you can see it on the YouTube. So I mean, if you make it full screen or whatever, you could probably see it on YouTube. But there's a little bit of a dip at 4. Okay, and the blue one, can you guys see that? Hello.
Yes, I can see the dip.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that is what you call an energetic minimum. Therefore, we would expect
Say,
4 chambers
say that again slower.
as a type of universal energetic minimum.
Can you say those words again? I didn't understand what you said there.
That it is some type of universal energetic
No,
minimum. There are 2 factors.
Okay.
What part do you want me to repeat
universal
here?
energetic minimum. That's the part I didn't hear.
That's
Go ahead.
correct.
Continue.
Well, universal might be the wrong word. Global, for this particular state, which is a generic. So you can see this is very generic. We started with one vibrating sphere, and we got to a 4-chambered heart as a global energetic minimum.
When did we get to the 4-chambered heart? I missed that. I didn't hear that part.
Well, what is entropy? What is the law of entropy? That all systems converge towards the energetic minimum or entropic maximum. Those are the same thing. So there are 2 factors that determine the formation energy of these states when we're talking about starting with a single field, the trivial field, right? When the photon field aligns 100% with the fermion field, and then just doping it with photons until it splits to the next state. And there are a bunch of states it could split into. It could split into 2 folds, 3, 4, 5, all the way to infinity. Call that shimmering, but I'm open to suggestions. That's the last one. If you look at the diagram, there's 3 dots. That's when it's back to converging again. So it starts with trivial field, which is the photons and fermions, mass and light fully lining up. And then the light ejects, and then because what's happening is that the light bubble is being divided into sub-bubbles. So it's one bubble divided into infinity sub-bubbles, basically back to the same volume as what it was originally, if that makes any sense. So there's a stable field as n photon goes to infinity, which is something you can go observe anytime you want. The body has an electromagnetic field. Biology can't predict it, can't explain it, can't do anything with it. And when pressed, it just starts saying leaves. So it's like, okay.
Okay.
And then if you go to the
Digimon
very end, like, I don't want to bore
explain
people, but on the bottom right-hand side, there's a couple interesting things about like the volumes of stuff and how a lot of this is conservation of volume. Like I've talked a little bit before about how psychedelics works. That's a conservation of volume problem. Some other things.
I'm sure you know about that.
I still haven't heard
Yeah, I got this diagram on a DMT trip.
So
One of the Keebler elves gave it to me.
I don't doubt that,
Really?
but I still haven't heard conclusion hearts 4 chambers.
Okay, the law of entropy predicts that the maximum entropy or minimum energy state is favored. Okay, the minimum energy state is predicted by 2 variables: how many times it's cut and how big it is. relative to the radius, because push something farther from a center is more energy. So that you can do a binary fission, and that is a lot of times when there's a bulk condition, like for cell division, there's a bulk restriction that it actually does do binary fission, even though that's a higher, tiny bit higher. That's not, it's still operating in not the universal maximum because there's other factors, because the field is near adjacent, right? So when you have a cell dividing, that would be number 2. But when you have the heart, that would be number 4, because the heart is like 4 spheres oscillating around within a larger
In
sphere.
some animals,
It's a pattern
and
of the
only
heartbeat.
some animals it's 4 chambers, right?
Well, I
It's not-
think
it's not in all animals.
I think I might understand part of her argument, but Adam had a very prescient super tweet to this conversation. Tides go in, tides go out. Can't explain that exactly.
You got me. I can't do it. It's not there.
But so Jen, you seem to be saying that the law of entropy predicts that things will have the most efficient energy possible for its size and cutty division or whatever.
For its state variables,
Right.
not
and
its size, for its state variables. It's always optimized within its state variables, which are themselves variable.
So
across
if
all,
so, you're
different,
saying human
arrays.
beings have a state variable that would be indicative of a 4-chambered heart.
The state variables that comprise you predict that a 4-chambered heart is what you're going to have, because it is the universe or the global energetic minimum of these possible fields. It can be generated from bound photons.
So that
key is in
actually
the
does sound like a
simplicity.
prediction. So that sounds like if we can identify the state variables of a being, a person, an object or something, then we can know the number of chambers in their heart.
Well, it's just no. This is just saying that the heart has. There's going to be a lot of stuff with 2 and 4, and nothing else basically. Because 3 is an intermediary state, which is basically on a slide between 2 and 3, or sorry, 2 and 4. So 3 is what you call metastable.
So
There's a
no
lot of predictions
3-chambered
you can infer
hearts.
from
That's
this.
that's what you're saying.
Very unlikely. But there's
there are
another thing to
3-chambered
consider,
hearts.
which is that the mind has to be coherent with its eigenstates, which is another condition that is exists in addition to this.
So,
Because we're
Jackson,
clearly we're not in the front seat of this experience.
Jackson, you were saying about the 3-chambered hearts.
Like there are, what is it? Amphibians have 3-chambered hearts, don't they?
So like the majority of life before it evolved into like 4-legged animals.
Let's see. Octopus and squid have 3 hearts. Amphibians and most reptiles have a heart with 3 chambers. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Yes.
So was there a time
And then
when
I think it's just
that made
it's
up
just
the
birds
majority of
and
life?
mammals.
Like was there a time when that made up the
Sure,
majority
yeah.
of life on Earth?
From well, I mean, I don't know about life on Earth, but life on land, yes. I'd
Guys,
say.
this doesn't change anything. You understand that, right? Because there's
I'm
other
sure.
considerations. There's mechanical considerations, like this is super important too. What I just posted in the chat, like this is another consideration that also has predictive effects. So you have to take these theorems and put them together, basically, see what they mean. Yeah, it's pretty complicated stuff. So you can see why I don't agree with biology, because it's kind of like, that's not science. If you want to have your little sewing circle LARP and feel smart and play video games, cool, but that's not science. And that's all. I guess that is really all I want to say. So I do appreciate people listening to me.
Oh,
We
thank
can turn it into
you.
a dumpster fire now if that's what people want.
Oh,
I was
as in
half
it's not
expecting it to
already.
be a dumpster fire. This is
It's
pretty
it's
good
not.
compared to what I'm used to, but
I mean, I'm
whatever.
not gonna like yell at you, but if that's what you want, I'm sorry. I'm not that invested in this.
No, I
But I
didn't
do
mean
appreciate you. I do appreciate it.
that. Oh, good. Well, maybe you can, think about the ideas, because theoretically you'd agree with me.
Oh, I'll be thinking about this conversation a lot. I promise you that. I promise I'll be thinking about it a lot.
Oh, Mannerite.
Jeff, I'm gonna
Sorry,
need to
Bill.
get paid next time. To be honest.
Yeah, I totally scammed you into this one by like not telling you what it was going to be like. But yeah, Mannerite asks if your model can predict why men have 2 testes. Jen.
That appears to be fundamental dualism, which is a attribute of the universe. I've got a diagram that might help with that. Can you pipe down, Chuckles? This is not good for your karma to be demeaning me like this.
I'm sorry. You're probably right. Does that also go for like the 2 lobes of the brain? Or like 2 eyes or 2 nostrils or 2 ears?
2 loaves of bread on a sandwich.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I just need a tiny bit of time to actually find this diagram.
Sure.
Let me know when you post it in the chat so I can show everybody on YouTube. Yeah, I think it would be a good thing to compare the 2 predictions that were made here. The fact that like Tiktaalik is a prediction based off of looking at different homologies of skeletons at different time frames and geological scales and saying, oh, there's going to be something else that we don't know about in the middle, versus everything Jen said over the past 20 minutes. And we'll just have to let the audience decide which is a better prediction.
Don't you want answers? Don't you want answers? I mean, that's the part I don't
You
get. It's
can't
like,
handle the truth.
Can you predict why, if you have a bunch of clocks in the same room, they're going to synchronize their oscillation period? Can
They
you predict
don't.
why that happens?
Someone should have told that to
do.
the clocks in my house. Because I swear to God, they're all like 1 minute off.
I'm talking about analog clocks, like the ones that go dong dong with the literal tickers in them, not like display, not electric ones.
So
Don't know that it works with electric ones.
So you're saying that the clocks in an old clockmaker's store will all synchronize? That's a prediction.
Yep. Oh, it's a verified effect. I definitely didn't. I'm not the one who verified this. But I mean, who's going to tell you why other than good old Jen? And that's the thing
Please tell
people
us
might wanna
why.
know.
I am dying to know. Why is that a phenomenon that
You're
happens?
not open to the truth, so.
Sure I am. I'm sitting here. I'm waiting. My ear
Sitting
holes are
here
open.
playing a video game and
I can multitask.
laughing at good old Jen, and
I'm not laughing
fine.
at you. I'm laughing with you. We're all laughing
Okay.
together. Okay, but I would like to know if this is a phenomenon
I
you
just
say
hope
occurs.
it's
I would like
nervous
to know.
laughter and happy, excited laughter, and not condescending, dismissive
I'm excited.
laughter.
I'm just excited to be here. Honestly, I don't do a whole lot.
You want to get
know.
paid next time, and you just want to make sure that TJump knows.
Well, I
Look,
mean,
I don't really have to get paid.
It's cool. I get it.
I would appreciate it. Like, you know who should be paying his people? Modern day debate. I'm sorry if that's a hot button topic right now. He should be
100%.
paying the people he has on 20% or $20, whichever is more.
Can I get an amen?
There you go. That's
I
all
have
I'm
the
saying.
next diagram
Okay.
in the chatterbox. I
The-
want to say thanks to the 95 people watching on YouTube and to TJump for putting.
Are you
this on
serious? There are 95 people watching this.
I do
Those
not
poor
have an
souls.
OnlyFans page.
Oh, you said you have 1,000 subscribers. That's good.
Thank you. I
is
just
very
got
good.
them. It's been a long time. It's been really tough, but things seem to be on the up and up. So
That's good.
whole two
That's great.
balls thing, because that was the question, right?
Yeah.
I just have to
Yes.
explain like my main theory, which is something called the measurement limit. So if you look at the top left-hand side, I don't know if you've had a chance to put it in the thing yet.
I think so. It's the one that has the picture of the Roman statue and the particle thingy that you put the funny face on in your other memes.
Which funny face?
It's the thing on the upper left with like the big green ball in the center and the purple balls, and you drew like a
The
meme
quantum
face on it.
periodic table?
Oh, that's the quantum periodic table. Okay.
We should have a shorthand for it because that's a lot of syllables. I mean, it is micro god, so we should definitely be reverent, but we don't want to be going on forever saying its name. which isn't really its name, but anyway. Yeah, so that's the quantum periodic table. So the rule is 3 plus 1 is the measurement limit. So that's the maximum number of observations you can make per canonical order. And life is a form of observation device. So there's like different categories of life which fold in increasing complexity. And you can see like you start off with something like a cell, which has maximum symmetry and minimum complexity. And that has symmetry in a spherical shape. And then you have something like a jellyfish, which has 2 axes of symmetry. And then a mammal, which has only 1. And so there's a reduction in axes of symmetry as there's an increase in complexity. And then we have a sort of a parallel approach with plants, where they're essentially like unfolding into a different sort of level of space temporality.
Bruce
yeah, you
Wayne
can
super
have a look
chats
at that
that
diagram right
Jen needs to write a book called A Theory of Everything.
Yes, do it.
Well, I'm working on it. I'm just not much of an author. So.
It's a. I mean, you know, you
Trying
just
to
gotta
inspire
devote.
myself to write the book by performing a bunch of, dumpster fire internet debates. So this
It
is why
just-
I'm just so appreciative
you
of
just
this
take, you know,
opportunity
like
here today.
a little bit per day. If you do like a page per day, then you know, in no time at all, boom, it's done.
I've just become addicted to making diagrams, though.
Well, I mean, you know, you can put as many diagrams as you want in a book.
What, can I just make a book of diagrams?
Yes.
I mean,
So-
sure, you could.
Picture books are a
Ridiculous.
thing. Picture books are
I
a
mean,
thing.
yeah. You could even make it
So
like, you know,
should I have,
color
like,
in the
Plastic pages so people can bring it in the bath.
You could even do that, yeah.
That might be not a terrible idea now that I think about it, actually.
It's just another source of income, you know.
Whew. Well, it's technically against tradition to take money for teachings, but I suppose if it's a book, then it's something solid that I could pretend isn't teachings. Or
Hey,
isn't
you
teachings,
can make it a
technically.
coloring book, and then you could sell it just for entertainment value, and it has teachings along with it.
That's true.
Speaking of
Yeah.
diagrams, I want to share one that I just made. I love it so much. It's like probably one of my favorite ones I ever made. Is there any questions from the audience that if people want to ask them? I don't know.
Yeah. So
What-
does anybody in the listening audience want to have a question that they would like to ask Jen or Jackson?
If anyone asks, yes, I do wear only left socks. I will not wear right socks.
That sounds expensive. That means you have to buy 2 pairs of socks.
Categorically refuse. Will not happen, ever.
Nameless question.
Ah! Got attacked by
Oh,
like,
the
a wild
squad
pig.
is here.
Who's the squad?
The other moderators who
Somebody else.
who teased Jen a bit
Well,
for no apparent reason.
TJump, I think Jen is a genius.
look at
Aw.
that. They're on your side, Jen. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Jen is brilliant.
We can't tell if it's a troll or not. What is that? Poe's law?
I think so, yeah.
We're just in a quantum superposition.
you go.
Quantum agnosticism. Cosmological edging for all time.
Ethernet super chat. Both speakers should come back for more and different topics.
It was a pretty good sport, somewhat. I mean, I'm glad you like plants and shit, but it's like, come on, don't you want to know how it actually works? Shouldn't biology be applied physics?
It's
I have a
hyper reductive.
Brenda, did you have a question? Was that you who was asking?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is my first time using the phone to do this. I usually use my computer. My question to Jen is, she talked about photons splitting. How does that happen?
Okay, so I'm going to grab a diagram. Sorry, I realized that if it hasn't clicked with what I've said so far, that it's probably better to just grab my standard.
Well, she said she's on the phone, so I don't know if she can see the
Okay.
picture. So if
Hey,
you could try
Jen,
to.
why don't you think like the holy books have more diagrams in them?
That's a very, very, very complicated question. I want to get to the first one. So I want to imagine like what are the necessary conditions for life on Earth? Water, moon, sun, planet. And you need the water to sustain the life, and you need the moon to keep the energy coming in. Like life without energy is dead, basically. So there's always something coming in from the sun. Always, always, always. And that's because the moon binds it. Okay, so the moon makes it impossible for the bulk of photons that would normally escape to escape. Okay, so there's an enormous pressure. And a metaphor for that pressure would be boiling water. Are you following so far?
Wait, the moon is stopping photons from doing what?
Or I think she means like
Okay.
gravity, but or maybe reflection.
Imagine
but how does
there
that
was
cause
no
it to?
moon. Imagine there was no moon. Imagine
That's
if we had
she.
no moon. Okay.
Brenda asked about splitting, photons splitting. How do they split?
Well, you have to understand the concept of the moon binding them in the first place. So if we had no moon, what would happen is, so first of all, what's the temperature during the daytime on the moon? It's over 100 degrees Celsius. You can look this up yourself. So if there was no moon, the temperature would just, on the planet Earth, which would be the same as the moon, it's the same distance to the sun, would just boil off all the water very quickly. But because the moon is constantly going around the Earth, it's deviating the path of would-be escaping water molecules slightly away from the radial direction in which they were escaping. So there's a preventing of escaping of this photonic radiance.
Wait,
That make sense?
are you not talking about water?
I'm talking about water, but with a bunch of photons in it from the sun trying to escape, but not being able to because the moon continually changing the path of these water molecules ever so slightly. Because like without the moon, they just boil right off. What would happen is they'd get really hot, and then they go straight up in a radial direction.
They would boil off of the moon or off of the Earth.
In the absence of the moon, they just all boil off the Earth. Enigma says that I get it. I appreciate
So
that.
if there was no moon, the temperature on Earth would heat up and all the water would boil?
You can quickly check what the daytime temperature on the moon is.
But
That's
because
got
the
no
moon
atmosphere or
doesn't have an
anything.
atmosphere.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. There wouldn't be an atmosphere without the moon is sort of the greater argument. And if you're get back to this question about the field splitting, is that's the basis of it is that there's a physical massive constraint and a constant shoving in of photons, like from eating, basically. There's just this drive to bubble it over to the next state, to change phase to the next highest state. There's always a pressure from eating, be it from eating or be it from taking in photons. It's all the same sort of cycle of what it is that we've got going on here with this special type of like hydrostasis in the atmosphere.
Are
I
you
hope that
talking
answers the
about?
question. It is a bit challenging, but I appreciate the challenging questions.
What, did you get to the part where the photons split yet? Because I must have missed it.
Splitting happens when the pressure is high enough, like the boiling event with water. It's like when does water
Pressure
boil? Well,
on
when
the
it gets enough
photons?
pressure in it. Yeah, there's a bunch of energy going into the system, and eventually it's going to quantum state transition. It's going to go from being just one sphere to two spheres, for example.
But they're not spheres.
They are spheres.
No, they're waves.
They're spheres which undergo wave. They're waving spheres. They're harmonic resonators, or vibrators, whatever you want to call them. Oscillators, yes, very much. Anyway, yeah, it's a bit challenging. So what was quantum foam? What did you say? I liked your question a lot too.
Oh, why don't the holy books have more diagrams?
In my religion, it's all oral, so anything
What
written
is your
down is
religion?
considered compressed. Eternal tradition. Anything written down is considered compressed. So it would be untraditional to point to something written down and say that that was traditional knowledge. It's a compressed
what is
version
your
of it. It's a
religion?
projection of it. The eternal tradition. It's a
Eternal
so it would
tradition.
be
I haven't heard of that
you
one.
project. I actually have a good diagram for that. I had a feeling I would need this diagram today, so I'm glad I put it in my diagram.
Is there anything you
folder.
don't have a diagram for?
I think that's the unknown unknowns question, and I would be lying to say that I knew. All right,
So is that
find
like
where
a branch
my-
of Christianity or something, or what? Is it just a totally separate?
She's
religion?
a
Is other
Well, I
pantheist.
call
deities in
myself
this?
Church of Entropy, so I guess so.
She's a pantheist by her terminology.
You claim to be
I
a
gotcha.
pantheist too. Isn't that kind of funny?
Yes.
I've
it is
heard you
very
say
funny.
Hindu as well, right?
A lot of people call me a Hindu, like they just really want to call me a Hindu sometimes. Like I got
But you're
called
not
an Indian catfishing account the other day. And I did get a little misty-eyed about it. Anyway, there's a diagram there that sort of shows like when stuff isn't always what it seemed.
I'm on a better computer now, so I can ask the question better.
Go ahead. We can hear you.
Yeah, Jen, you didn't explain how a photon, which is a quantum of light, can split.
A single photon can't. Only a system which binds photons and which has perpetual photons funneling into it is inevitably bound to split.
So photons don't split.
Well, an individual photon, that's the construct, that's the irreducibly complex quantized entity, right? We would not speak of those outside of defining them within, metaphysical parameters. When you're talking about a system, it's always a particular saturation of photons. Like they're not subject to the exclusion principle.
Well,
They-
that
you
seemed
can-
like
you
a
can-
thing you mentioned several times in the debate was photon splitting.
Well, she just makes it up as she goes along.
Hey,
Well, I mean, if
Brenda,
you
don't,
wanna
no
know
cheating. Don't
how-
cheat. Don't cheat and tell us the
It's-
answer.
It's hard to like converse when people get hostile, and it kind of seems that maybe that's happening now.
Well, it's not hostile. It's you confronting facts.
Are you going to be the one who
Yes.
confronts me
I am.
about facts? though?
Yes. 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 The fact is,
I don't think it's a good
Photons.
idea.
photons
Abandon all hope, ye who enter here.
photons cannot split because they are the smallest unit or packet of energy that is possible. It's not possible for them to split.
I just said that.
Yes, but according to them, you've been talking about them all splitting all night long. So were you lying then or are you lying now?
Well, I think you're just misunderstanding what I said. That composite systems I was referencing, it was presupposed that everybody understood that I was referencing a composite system that comprised multiple photons.
Okay, so how does the moon corral electromagnetic radiation?
How doesn't it?
Well, it doesn't by anything
Really hard.
other
Are
than
you-
it doesn't by temperature and it doesn't by water because light does not react or,
It's
or
not wise
interact
to
with
assert a negative.
things. Light does not interact with other things other than gravity.
Well, then, are you calling Einstein a liar?
No.
Oh,
I mean,
Zing.
light things absorb light and emit light.
What
Reflect.
did
Things like-
Einstein
Sure,
say about
sure.
lights and gravity? What can someone refresh me? The people who love to quote Einstein so much. What was it he
light
said about
light travels
gravity
light travels
fields and shit?
light travels on the lines of space-time.
Geodesic.
Yes, the geodesics.
Well, I think Brenda's asking a good question here. How does the moon trap the photonic waveform? Is it reflecting the light, or is it gravity? How is the moon trapping this photonic waveform thingy?
It's a different type of logic you may have never used before. It's the same logic as I concluded that the universe can't not be conscious, which isn't the same as saying that it is conscious, because an unfalsifiable and a positive assertion are different like levels of truth or whatever. So for me, it's really hard to visualize. So at some point, I just let go of the expectation that I can visualize it. But this is how I bring myself to the inevitability of the conclusion, okay? You start with just the moon in absentia, basically. Like if there was no moon, what would happen? So just assume the moon just disappears and everything's the same now. What would happen? Well, there, what's
There
the
wouldn't
daytime
be
temperature
there
on the
wouldn't be
moon?
moon. There wouldn't be any tides on Earth, and there
There
wouldn't
you
be
go.
any
There's
moonlight.
one. I mean,
But-
that in and of itself, you gotta realize is a huge thing. So the effect of the moon, whatever it is huge. But generally, if you had no moon, you'd have still as much sunlight coming, which would put it to the same temperature on the solid surface, which would be higher than boiling for water, which would cause the water to all
What?
boil off.
If there
You
was
look
no
up-
moon, the water
look up
on
real
Earth
quick.
would boil off. Is that
Look
what
up
you're
real
saying?
quick. Daytime temperature on the moon.
No, what you're saying is if there were no moon, the water on Earth would boil away.
That's right. And well, it would partially freeze.
How would that
and then
happen? How
partially
would that
boil,
happen?
depending on what part of the day it was. Well,
how would that happen?
Does anybody disagree that the daytime temperature, i.e., when the sun is hitting it,
How
is
does
higher
the
than 100 degrees
temperature
Celsius?
on the surface of the moon keep the water from boiling away on the Earth?
Because, okay, so they're comparable systems in the sense that they're the same distance to the sun, right? What's the difference between
I
the
was
moon and
asking-
the Earth?
Well,
I'm
the Earth has
asking
way
you.
more stuff
Wait,
on its surface
I'm pretty
than
sure
the
even
atmosphere.
I know why that's wrong. And
So-
I don't
so-
know anything about physics.
So Jen, we agree that on the light side of the moon, it's extremely hot. Yes. And the distance between
agree
the
that-
Earth and the moon is 250,000 miles. And so they're about that close to the sun-ish. Yes.
Well, in physics, we would say that the R from the Earth to the sun
Yeah,
and R
it's
from
1
the
AU.
moon to the sun would be approximately equal.
Sure.
If
It's
we
one
were doing an
astronomical unit
approximation.
from the sun.
Sure. So how does the moon
Because you
cool
understand they're
off
not
the
always in the
Earth?
same place, right?
So how does the moon cool off the Earth?
It
Are
doesn't
we?
cool it off. It warms it up.
What?
It
What
stops it
doesn't-
from being able to cool off. So in the
But
absence of the
wouldn't
moon,
that
it would
wouldn't
cool
that
off.
mean? But you said without the moon, the water would boil on Earth.
If you took some water and put it on the surface of the moon right now, that was the daytime, it would boil
I don't
off
think
because
she
it's over 100
understands like
degrees.
what the atmosphere does. Is I think the problem here.
I mean, the
Question is,
moon's pretty
Why
important.
is there an
though.
atmosphere, genius?
So
whole
because of
argument.
gravity, because of gravity. So because
that's
of
not
gravity.
any kind of answer. Everything's because of gravity.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's-
like
of course it
seriously,
is.
Wait,
why
I
did
think
my
I think
dog
I think I
die?
got
Like
it.
gravity.
I think I got
Great
it.
answer.
I like
Wait,
how the actual answer is like the one thing she says can't be the answer every time. I think that's
I
Well,
understand
wait.
gravity's
I think
part of
I
the
understand the
answer,
argument.
genius.
So
I'm trying to go a bit further.
Jen, let me try to steel man you. So I think Jen's argument is that the moon causes the atmosphere, and if there was no moon, there would be no atmosphere, and if there was no atmosphere, then the water would boil because there'd be nothing to dissipate the heat, something like that.
Yes, exactly. It would all just boil off in a radial direction. So you want to imagine a sphere or a circle with lines coming from the center straight up. That's radial velocity.
Right,
That's
right.
what
But
you-
if there was
that's
no
what your
moon,
model
we would
predicts
still
if
have
there
an
was no moon.
If there's no moon, we'd
false.
still have an atmosphere, Jen.
That's false.
But
And
Jen,
Prove
like,
it.
I'm
Prove
really
it.
glad
Gravity-
you're here, buddy.
Prove
'Cause I was
it.
just thinking about you. Yeah, I am in the process of doing that, but you're not following my proof because you're just like super triggered because of a photon indivisibility. It's like, yo,
I'm not
I know.
triggered.
Jen, what's your proof that the Earth would not have an atmosphere if there was no moon? Do some planets have atmospheres with no moons?
I think it depends on your definition of an atmosphere, but we're talking about one that isn't hostile to life.
Venus.
Because I do believe Venus, yeah, I was just actually going to say that, has something you could describe as an atmosphere, but that
It has an incredibly
Something-
dense
something
atmosphere.
you could describe as an atmosphere. Something.
And Venus
like-
is approximately the same size as
you
the
could-
Earth. So
if you want to say
Like-
an atmosphere is something that has to be made up of water, because water is a precondition
No, it's
for life,
gases.
like carbon. Well, but that's
No,
what I'm saying.
yeah,
So it
because an atmosphere
how we're
isn't just
defining it.
water.
really depends on definition. Like it's
it's
you know,
nitrogen. Like, what do you mean?
Mostly carbon dioxide too, and sulfuric acid. Lots of that. real fun place.
You know,
Well, it's the best place and it's the worst place. It's the only place, and that's the only real thing we have any freedom to deliberate over. I like it. I get to make memes. I mean, seriously. What's better than that?
Yep. I'm enjoying all the memes tonight. I tell you what.
So if you just think about it, imagine that if the moon, imagine that if there was only the moon and a piece of water on it, it would boil
I'm
off, right?
imagining here is there is a reality in which I never went for a biology degree and I never ended up in this conversation.
There
I
is
bet
that
you're
reality.
wishing you were in one of those universes right now, weren't you? You're
Let
like, I
me
regret
tell you.
every decision I've ever made right now.
Worse.
There are a
worse,
lot of them. There are truly a lot of them.
Jackson, there's a worse world where there's one where everything Jen says makes sense and is in fact the case.
That is actually this world also.
No, it is not this world.
Imagine a
It is
world with
not.
like multiple Jins.
Oh, no, wait. Well, I mean, you sort of put her as this Deepak Chopra-esque character, and I really think that's accurate because there is as much knowledge coming from anything Chopra says as what we've heard tonight. So I think you're accurate.
Thank you. Accurate representation. I appreciate it.
Think of like Aurora Borealis as it's not 100% split in two. It's never going to 100% split in two because the energetic differential for it to 100% split in two, that only works in terms of like on the order of a cell and very occasionally on the order of like an animal.
What?
How would the Aurora Borealis split into parts? It's not a thing. It's not like a solid object.
It is evidence of the attempt of the field to split itself into parts, which it's never going to reach the
What about a
energetic threshold to
rainbow?
do so.
Is a rainbow that too?
No, that's a lensing effect.
Yeah, that's
What?
correct.
Imagine that it's trying to split, okay? It can split sometimes. When a cell divides, it's splitting. Field splits in two when a cell divides. And with identical twins.
Okay.
That is the scale on which that is an energetically favorable transition, but these things tend to be scale sort of specific.
So
So,
when a cell splits, a
could
field
start.
divides in two. There's a field somewhere.
I just put an image there. You can see a single field is dividing in two, and it's doing that by exiting from its normal spherical array to a more linear array to facilitate the replication process.
I don't know of any
It's the field
fields
splitting.
splitting in physics. How do fields split in physics?
I'm telling you right now. So this is the scale on which this is an energetically acceptable transition. And you can say, well, that's the same transition as what's happening in identical twins. So but notice that transition happened at this point in the gestation as well, when it was very simple. Right? So
What?
the chances that it can split into a clean new field.
I've
on
only
the
got half
scale
an
of
hour left. I
planet-
can make
I
it.
finish, please? Chances that it would split into on the scale of the planet is not energetically permissible because it's energetically permissible on this scale. Like, why would it be also permissible on this bigger scale? Like, it could start to try to happen, but it would only get like a tiny bit into the transition, i.e., these aurora borealis things. That
Now, normal scientists base their theories on empirical evidence. And what empirical evidence have you based your theories on? Because it sounds to me like you just pulled them out of your ass.
what does empirical mean?
Repeatable, testable, falsifiable.
Observed through sense experience.
Those are two completely different definitions. So it's a bit of it's a troublesome word for me to employ. Because when I think empirical,
it is.
I think the evidence that substantiates scientific stuff.
What?
But that's
We
what
kind of ran
empirical
out of
is.
gas. We kind of ran out of gas
Well,
there.
the data going into science experiments, I guess that's empirical evidence in theory. That's what I understood it to mean, but I realize different fields define it maybe differently.
I think your name is
Okay.
backwards. I think it should be Punisher, Jin.
So Jackson, we should make this into a drinking
Apotheosis,
game.
bro.
No. Oh no. I don't want to get cirrhosis at 23. can't. I'm sorry.
Well,
hello?
Yeah. Do you have published studies that you can cite as the basis for your theoretical understanding?
Basis of my theoretical understanding is yoga. So
I've never heard this part of Jin's theory before. Please, Jin, elaborate. Elaborate on the yoga.
okay, Chuckles, calm down.
I'm sorry. I should have muted myself.
Yeah, I was not prepared for that answer.
What could possibly motivate someone to put themselves through the ringer like this?
Um,
Not a promise to their teacher.
This is relatively benign compared to a lot of things on the internet, to be perfectly honest.
You
Jen.
haven't seen the entirety of my performance
I get,
online.
I
have
get, I'll just tell you, Jen, that I get quite a considerable amount of hostile feedback in the other places that I go to. And this is, I can tell you, this is relatively
Benign.
relatively tame, but yes, I was looking for that word. Yes, relatively benign.
This is
So
a best
I
friend
know that-
sleepover compared to what I'm used to. So what's
Yes,
what do you
me
think next?
too. Me too. So, but your ideas, Jen, are not making sense to a lot of people.
Okay, it doesn't mean you have to be cruel about it. You could just say, "Oh, I don't get it.
Okay.
I'm like everybody else," because
But I don't mean
even
to be
I don't
cruel.
fully get it. It's baffling to me too. It's like I don't really fully understand why the measurement limit is what it is. It
When
just
did
is.
this? Did you take? Are you trained? Do you have a degree? Or are you trained in something?
I have an honors degree in physics, math. Yeah.
Oh, in math. Okay.
Wait,
And so when did you start?
No, physics, math.
When did you start? Yeah. You're familiar with Tim Maudlin. So
No.
no. So when did you start? When did you start having these theories, or coming up with these theories, or investigating this line of thought? Like in college?
I just wouldn't describe the process that way.
In yoga?
What is your process?
It depends on the task. Some stuff you have to be agnostic for as long as humanly possible. And then some stuff you want to converge as quick as possible, and so everything else is pretty much in between.
Well, I think what Brenda's asking is did you come to these theories before or after you got your degree in college?
After? I tried to invent as little bit as little as I had to. I mean, invent is probably the wrong word.
No, I think invent is the perfect word.
My
No,
goal
I
was
think
to not
I-
add anything.
Yeah,
Just,
I think that these are
just
complete.
clarify.
I understand, Jen. Honestly, I think this is all made up, and it's
Well,
not
it's
based.
all made up in that sense, right?
It's not based on empirical research.
Well, I think it's pretty based, but I mean, free to
It might be based. It might be based.
Oh, I just want to be agnostic.
But
That's
I'm
the
trying
trick.
to. I'm trying in my way to throw an olive branch and to say I'm not trying to be mean. I'm trying to be direct and honest, which sounds like mean, but I'm not trying to be mean. Okay?
All right.
But I don't understand the things that you're saying. I don't understand them.
Join the club.
Okay.
Brenda, do you play any video games?
No, I've. This is a complicated. I've had problems. So I have a computer. I'm not really interested in playing games that much. I used to play Elder Scrolls, but that PC stopped working, and then when I tried to remove it to clean it, I bent the pins on the CPU, and I can't afford to replace it right now.
Gotcha.
So Now I'm using a i7. You know, it's really old. It's really not capable of doing
Gotcha.
modern games.
Gotcha. Okay. I feel you. I was just wondering. Do you know a Dr. Dan Cardinal?
Sounds vaguely familiar,
Okay.
but no,
I was just wondering.
I guess not.
Okay. I was just wondering.
Elder Scrolls is pretty badass. Y'all play Skyrim?
Oh heck yeah! I love me some Skyrim.
I did some years ago, but I've gotten away from them, from the games. I guess by force of not having a PC that works. Well, I have
Nice.
a PC. I have a PC. I could play low-level games on this, older games, but
PC Master Race.
I'm actually playing on my PS4 currently. So
Me too. PS4.
Yeah, I do a lot of gaming on PS4. I haven't upgraded to the 5 yet. But I've been playing a lot of Tekken 7. I like Tekken 7. I like the Souls series, the Dark Souls games, all that stuff.
Jackson, what's
Yeah.
your PSN ID?
what?
PlayStation Network name?
Heck if I know. How do I find that?
Press the PSN button. Look at the top where your picture is. Like mine is TJump. Surprise.
I'm just Jackson Wheat 15 is my name.
I am TJump_. Same as my Twitter.
So if I click on the TJump so I go to friends.
You go to like friends, create message, search player, and then type in. I'm trying to find YouTube. JACKSON Wheat W.
It says I'm online. Edit profile. No, I don't want to edit my.
What was the number? 15?
Yes, 15. Yep.
Well, it seems like you've been a very studious because it doesn't seem like you know how to navigate the PlayStation menus.
Nope. No, I buy the game, I play the game, that's all I know. I know nothing about technology, let me tell you. I'm lucky the computer works.
I sent you a message in
I
a
see
friend
it.
request.
It says sup.
Zop, yep.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm terrible with technology.
That's okay.
Like I was asking TJump before this, I said, how do I find the
Main stage?
the main stage. So yeah.
I don't know if it's a thing, but I've often noticed sometimes the bio people aren't the most software savvy for some
No,
reason.
you're probably right. That's probably very fair. I wouldn't doubt that actually.
Y'all are more like hands-on into the messy stuff. You know, and you know, I think maybe it's a different kind of thinking. I'm not sure.
No, I could believe that. I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, there are a few patterns like that. Like
uh,
in mathematicians are actually more likely to believe in a god than any other field, which is weird.
It might be, Tom, that might have to do with like monad type thinking or fixations on unification and things like that. I
think
know.
it's more
It's just
abstract thought. Like if you're focusing more on abstractions, then you tend to go more towards a god than if you're focusing on empirical stuff, like the rationalism versus empiricism thing.
Or as the greatest intellectual of our time would say, unity among diversity.
It's either Darth Dawkins or Batman.
What about chemists?
I think chemists are also mostly more atheist. Like biology people are more atheistic, less goddish.
That makes sense
I-
for Doug.
I-
Then.
I just want the phone number to Jen's weed man. That's it.
I mean, I think it makes sense for biology because, to go back to Darwin, like this is the overturning of of fine tuning, right? Darwin was literally in the same room in college as Paley was before him, and so he comes up with this theory which replaces fine tuning.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
I could definitely understand.
Yeah, the field has a lot of implications about God, and so it would make sense that people in the field would probably lean away from it now, but probably didn't before.
Sure. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are lots of Christians and Muslims and Hindus in biology, but yeah, on average, when I meet biologists, they tend to be atheist or agnostic.
I think I've seen that trend as well. And another thing that I've noticed is when you see religious people who are working in the sciences, in my opinion, they have a healthy compartmentalization of science and their philosophy. And I tend to be a big proponent of compartmentalization. Staying in lanes and such.
Yeah, physicists think they are God.
Yeah. Well, when I see see people who maybe overuse physics as having the capacity to answer all philosophical questions, I just memify them or label them as Dr. Manhattans. It's like, oh yeah, there's a Dr. Manhattan.
Who is the Kenneth Miller? Kenneth Baller is the Christian biologist who was in the Kenneth Miller Westover trial.
Yes. Do you guys remember? Oh man, I think it was Paul something. I can't remember his name. Anyways, there was a physicist who came up with this idea that like cancer was a reversion to bacterial states for cells.
I have not heard.
You guys remember that? It was, oh my gosh, it was a popular physicist, like brilliant guy in physics. I'm not dissing on him. In physics, he's an absolutely brilliant guy, well-known physicist. But then he was like, I'm going to dip my toe in biology. And he came up with this idea that like cancer is an atavism of returning to cells being prokaryotes. It was amazing.
Sounds plausible to me.
No.
Knowing nothing about biology.
No, absolutely not. It is
Yeah.
nothing. Yeah. It's not like the cells don't become prokaryotic if they're eukaryotic. It's cancer is a deregulation of the cell cycle. Right, you are doing your cell cycle incorrectly. You're doing it too fast. Right, you're reproducing.
We should be asking Jen what cancer is.
Oh God,
we should. Absolutely, she has something to say about it, I'm sure.
I real quick, maybe someone can help me out with this, but there was a book I read a while back about Richard Feynman called "Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman," and I believe in there he accounts he tells the story of this time where some biologist asked for his input on some biology experiment or hardcore lab work, and he like totally, I believe the story ends with him like totally botching it.
Paul Davies.
Okay, yeah, I'm not sure. It's that whole story is kind of fuzzy, but I just remember that he was real forthcoming about the fact that when he dipped his toe in biology, he botched it, and he's Richard Feynman, right? But it might go to show they're two very different ways of thinking.
Well, let me be fair. Biophysics is a field, and physics has its place in biology, obviously, but it's like not everything can be solved from like this. I'm going to look at it with totally fresh eyes. I don't know anything, and that's a positive for me. Like that's
yeah.
Solve it in R.
Yeah, that would be some for someone to actually think. I think for a physicist to actually genuinely think that because they're a physicist they could just jump into biology would be like the most naive order of reductionism. And I knew a physicist who at one point, I don't think he was a physicist, but he had a master's in physics, and he said, haha, every now and then I tease my biology friend and I tell him that but biology reduces to physics, and one time he would bring it up every now and then, and one time I said, I'm sure even if the biologist did that to a surgeon, the biologist still would not be able to be confident performing a brain surgery, even if the principles of being a brain surgeon are derived from biology or neuroscience or whatever. And so, I'm not trying to go full emergence, but like, I think that type of thinking is at least a naive species of reductionism, so to speak.
Sure. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. Yeah.
And because I also know like pure math people who are like, oh yeah, physicists think they're so analytic, but it's really pure math is where it's at. But if we judge the various sciences by utility, like the life sciences are what are most directly meaningful to humans. I care more about biology and medicine solving cancer than I do about billionaires going to space or space exploration or anything like that.
Blasphemy.
Jen mentioned earlier about asking why it is that clocks on a wall, analog mechanical clocks, will become synchronized, and the answer
I was
to that,
interested to hear that.
the answer is entrainment, and it's described in chaos theory.
Well, it's in the
It is a word.
The forces
It's like saying
well the swing clocks transfer force to each other through wind, so they do actually synchronize because they're transferring force to one another. So that's a real thing.
It's through the wall that they're mounted on, and it's an attractor. It's described as an attractor.
they're transferring force. Well, it doesn't say why they're synchronizing, does it?
Because
It does. It's literally physics, basic physical attraction
That's
forces.
a word. What is attracting what? On what basis?
An attractor is
synchronization. Synchronizing.
it comes
I
out
would
of
like to know. I have some more good news. I just found the diagram.
That is good news. Wonderful news.
So the red one is proto-Earth. That's before there was a moon. And then there's a piece of ice that smashed into it and broke off the moon. And
a piece of ice smashed into Earth, and that caused the moon to break off.
That's the simplest. That's the Occam's razor theorem. It may not
That
be
is
how
the
it happened,
Occam's
but
razor
it
theorem.
is the Occam's.
That's specifically a piece of ice.
Big piece of ice.
Well, where was the moon before?
You have one. It was
Where
part
was
of Earth.
I don't think anyone is suggesting that like a piece of ice. Leophilus is right.
The moon used to be part of Earth.
The Theia collision hypothesis. It does not posit that
Congratulations.
ice.
Leophilus disagrees with me again. Wow, what a shocker. I'm sure you think you have a better model. This is why I say don't debate until you're 30 unless you have some special skill.
Wouldn't the ice vaporize?
Yeah, but the moon is just like, get the fuck back in there right now. And we've been having problems with
What? What is that? What?
Can you describe that with geometry? Because if that doesn't have geometry, then it's not a real theory.
Get the fuck back in there now. That's geometric.
TJump, I have 7 minutes. I am leaving.
You could just let's just cut this guy loose. He obviously doesn't want to be here. I mean,
I said I'd give you 2 hours.
Dissonance.
I said I'd give you 2 hours. I am giving you 2 hours. That's my. I promised it. So there we have it.
Going into the realm of torture now, and I feel like it's going against my principles.
Don't give yourself too much credit there, but I mean.
What are the yellow arcs? What are they? That's the sun?
There's fronts of solar
photons. Okay.
That's not exactly how the photon travels, but it's super counterintuitive to sort of see it. It's like even harder than understanding why the moon causes the atmosphere in terms of the complexity of visualization. Because like your starting point is that you're in the mind of God, the hard solipsism thing, the unfalsifiability of that is the starting point. So it can become quite counterintuitive at times. Not incomprehensible though.
All right, seeing as how we have 5 minutes left, I'd like to do a little wrap up just in case. I want to thank Jackson Wheat for coming on, really appreciate it, and Jen as well. Thank you for taking the time to. Thank you for both coming and taking the time to talk. I guess I think it's called talking. But yeah, if Jackson, you want to give like a link to your shout out to your YouTube channel, and then Jen as well.
Yeah, absolutely. My channel is just my name, Jackson Space Wheat. And I was working on a new video earlier. It was supposed to be out already, but I'm in school and between work right now, and so new video should be out in the near future, continuing our Ancestors Tale series. And so,
Jen is not Nephilim free. Nephilim, is he? Is she? Nephi?
I don't know how to interpret that.
Well,
but,
I've seen Jackson debate.
No, Jen is not Nephilim free.
oh, I think like, are you asking Jackson who's worse, Nephilim or Jinn?
Oh, I think Jen is much easier to talk to.
Oh, I agree. I absolutely agree. It's unpleasant to talk to Neff after a little while. Yeah, no. Yeah, Jin's much better
compliment
to
to Jin. So okay.
There you go.
And she doesn't whistle through her teeth.
Okay, Jin, would you like to give a shout out to your channel so we can get it up to 1,002 or 3?
Please subscribe to Church of Entropy. Woohoo! On YouTube. Thank you very much.
Yep. All right. So thanks again, guys. Really appreciate you taking the time to have a conversation. I will let you guys go if you want to, or you can stick around and answer questions if you would like. And peace out.
Thanks for having us.